Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone are doing great. So we can start for the class for today. Hope everyone are seeing my screen. All right. So to summarize and revise yesterday's session, what all the topics we have covered on launching an instance like Linux and Windows virtual servers, and the procedure and trying to create an account within the AWS console, and the process of logging into the console and validated the services. And we have learned about how to launch a server like Windows server and how to launch a Linux server. And we try to execute the commands as well. And we have validated the storage and various options. Okay. Now, this is what the life cycle we have discussed. I feel it's completed. And I hope we have discussed yesterday about instance types as well, and how the instance types, what are the different types of instances where we can try to select based on the requirements and the project needs, and what are the instance types which are available under the free tier account. Okay, again to repeat, like free tier account is the only way that we are able to practice during the projects or for the during the learning stages. I hope some of you people might have created the free tier accounts. If you have created the free tier accounts, you should be able to use T2.micro and T3.micro instances, whatever the names which has been tagged with free tier eligibility. Okay, that we need to make sure. And we have discussed about various types of instance types like general purpose, optimized memory, optimized storage, optimized acceleration, computing optimized. So hope you have gone through the links which I provided you yesterday. So what is the user data? User data is something while we are trying to initiate the instance launch. So when we are trying to provide these comments during the instance launch, it will try to execute these comments by default in the background, and it will try to give us instance startup. Okay. So in user data is something where we are trying to give the comments before itself, rather than trying to launch the instance and giving the comments to launch the instance. So we are trying to give this data beforehand. So thus it will trying to save our time for us. For example, if I'm trying to launch one server, and once the server is launched, I need to go to that shell, like command shell, like the black screen which you are seeing. I need to enter these commands to execute and install all applications. So this kind of a user data helps in trying to launch like kind of a bulk of servers at a time. So when I'm trying to launch 100 servers at a time, if I try to supply this data beforehand, so it is trying to launch the same commands for all the 100 servers at the same time without any delay. Okay, in that way, this is going to be helpful. So where we can try to see that user data options, let us try to see that. If I'm going to the EC2 computing service, I'm clicking on launch. As the comments which I have seen in the slide, this is for the Linux server. Okay. Linux does require commands because Windows doesn't require any commands, because it is a kind of a graphical user interface where you can try to click on all the options like File Explorer on the desktop and any file, and you can type the text. It's very friendly and GUI based. But the Linux, the operating system is designed in such a way that you need to operate through a command based interface. So you need to enter these commands so that the instance can be launched and we can try to go through the operations, right? So I'm trying to type the Linux server here. So what is an AMI? We discussed about AMI, Amazon Machine Image. So we are trying to select the operating system which is required. I'm trying to select the free tier eligibility here, and I'm clicking on Linux. So I'm trying to see, this is the Amazon Linux machine. Whatever the free tier options are available, I can try to use that. You can see this tag, the free tier eligibility, free tier eligibility, free tier eligibility. So I can try to use it any of these based on the software configurations as per my project needs. Okay. So I'm trying to go with the basic one because it doesn't require high level things. So I'm trying to select the basic level because we are not doing any projects for now. We are just launching the instances. And the next step is we have discussed the instance types as well. What is instance type? The instance type is something where you are trying to define the hardware specifications. That is nothing but T2. As I told you about, there are different types of instance types, T2, M3, and compute optimized instances, storage optimized instances, memory-based instances, and accelerative instance types. So there are different types of various types which actually be costable and chargeable based on the hourly basis. You can see Linux pricing USD per hour, USD per hour. So these are kind of a different charges. So under the free trial eligibility, anyway, I'm trying to get around 750 hours of instances like launching time. So I'm trying to use it as under of free trial eligibility. So I'm selecting T2.micro. Keeper is something where we're trying to supply the authentications, so which is used to launch any servers within the AWS console. Keeper is a concept of you can use a key pair to securely connect to your instance, ensure that you have access to the selected key pair before you launch an instance. So you need to configure this key pair authentication before, and it will allow us to log in. Okay. And for any server you launch, it needs a network to be configured. I already configured the network here. I'm trying to select the network. Within this network, the server will be launched. About this network things, I'll try to cover this topics from the base level in the network classes. Okay, coming soon. So I need a public IP to launch a server. So I'm trying to enable the public IP because I want to connect this server over the public internet, right? So as I'm trying to connect from my local machine to here, so I need a public internet access. So I'm trying to allow this as assign the public IP address so that I'll get an internet access to this server, right? So everything is default. It is having 1 to 8 GB of default storage. If I want to increase, I can try to increase as well. It's your wish based on that. And also, if you want to configure new volumes, you can try to add the volumes here. This is how we can try to add the storage. It is kind of a virtual hard disk. Okay, we'll try to cover that in the storage options. So here, if I go to the advanced details, if I come down, you can see the user data. Enter the user data in the field. This is where you can try to enter this command so that it doesn't require for you to manually log into server and trying to enter the commands. For example, if I try to type this, so I'm trying to enter the commands. This is kind of a bash script. So once you had a knowledge on this Linux commands, you'll get to know while we are trying to have a discussion during course, like the 50 hours course structure, we'll be able to help you with learning all these commands on understanding the Linux commands and how to operate. Okay. So those are the commands which will help us to launch the server. HTTPD on. And I've tried to enter this user data. So I'm trying to supply that. I'm clicking on launch instance. Let's see how it is going. All right, my instance has been successfully launched. You can see for every server you launch, it is generated with a unique instance ID. With this ID, you can try to locate this instance anywhere within this console. Okay. So it's succeeded in the security group, succeeded, rules has been succeeded in launching, and I'm clicking on this instance ID. Now it's in the pending mode. As I told you, what are the checks we has to pass? It has to pass the system checks and the instance checks. System checks is nothing but internal system level configuration checks has to pass. Instance checks is nothing but the connectivity from outside, like a public internet and internally, like private and IP address and everything, which we'll try to check. So once these checks are passed, it will come to running state. Okay. So it is still the checking states initializing. It has to pass on the status checks. Let's give us a time. refresh. See, now it is still initializing. Let me try to connect in the meanwhile. Click on connect. So you can see different options to connect these instances. So I'm trying to connect through EC2 instance connect, or you can try to connect externally through SSH client. SSH client is a way where you can try to download some kind of a command line interface tool that is nothing but a putty. So from putty, you will be able to log into this server by entering this public IP address and everything. So I'm trying to connect within this console. So there are different options where you can connect. So my terminal is loading. So the Linux virtual server is trying to come up. So it has been successfully launched. It has been launched with EC2-user. I'm the user who connected. This is the IP address where it has been instance has been configured. You can see this is the IP address. You can see in the dashboard as well. When I'm trying to go to the instances, this is an IP, right? You can see that this is the private IP address. For example, at your home, you had a computer. So every computer or a device, it has to be a unique private IP address, correct? So in the same way, by default, as we are trying to launch under this network, this server should be assigned with some private IP address. Private IP address is to communicate with internally. Okay. What is the need for the public IP address? The public IP address is required when you want to connect from outside of the world through over the internet. So this will be summarized more and in detail when we are trying to cover during the network session demo. Okay. So let's see. These are the commands like, entered into the administrator mode. So I'm trying to check the status of HTTPD. So what I can do. I'm trying to install some kind of a web deployment package, okay, with this command. So the benefit over Linux is to just without any software, like in the Windows, how we are trying to install, we need to download the software from internet. I think you people are seeing my screen. Someone is saying they cannot see my screen. Okay. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, for example, there's a website called Flipkart or and Amazon kind of a thing, right? So how do you think where these websites got deployed? This website has to be installed in with some kind of a software and some kind of a server, correct? In the same way, whenever you want to try to install any package or any web deployment package in particular Windows server, you can try to install through a Linux or the Windows, correct? In Windows, what do you do? If you want to install any application, simply you download the exe application, like any kind of an extensible file, .jar file, something like that, and you try to click on next and install and everything. That installation will be done. But in Linux, with the help of a commands, if you try to click that, like for example, yum is nothing but an installation command. Yum space install space HTTPD. HTTPD is nothing but a web-based deployment package. For example, HTTP google.com in that way, right? So in the same way, to work with that, if any website to be deployed, we need to have that as a HTTPD. So that's what we are trying to see here. Okay. So I'm trying to install HTTPD. Is it asking for a confirmation? Yes or no? I'm trying to click on yes. It is successfully downloading all the module packages in the background from internet. Okay. So I'm trying to launch a Linux server. I'm trying to install a web deployment package. Web deployment package, why? Because I'm being a admin. I want to deploy a website within the server. Like it's kind of a mini project I want to do. I want to do a mini web project. Okay. So that's why I'm trying to deploy a website. So this might be a quite actually unknown for you people to understand with initial stages, but I'll try to show you the demo on how it can be possible. Okay. Okay. So this is what I can try to do this. Now I'm trying to install the HTTP application. Now it is done. Now, if I want to start the Apache application, Okay, Apache is nothing but a web application. So which will help us to deploy any websites. For example, google.com, flipkart.com, amazon.com, any e-commerce, ebay.in. How these websites are deployed? These websites are deployed in around so many thousands of servers so that people can try to log into their websites and trying to use it. But the background, that endpoint has to be installed in some kind of a server. That is nothing but a virtual server, right? So we are trying to use that virtual server and trying to make it down. So let me see if I try to start this. So I install the package. So it is still dead. You can see it is inactive. So simply I'm trying to enter the command to check the status. Start. I'm trying to start the service. Okay. So this has been started. So I'll try to check the service status again if the service has been started. So this has been started. You can see active running. What is service? You people might be aware when I'm trying to go to my local system, if I try to type services, a Windows service is something which will try to dependable on an applications to have it be in running state. Correct? These are the services in your local system. Even if you go to your local system, you can see the services. Like different services is for a different purpose to run an application within the operating system. Correct? You can see this is in a start mode, stop mode, and everything. Some services are in start mode. So this is in a running state. So if you try to have the service installed, this particular application will be functional in your computer. In the same way, virtually I'm trying to install this Apache application. So to make sure I'm trying to run this service, right? So I can see that the service is actually running. So what I can try to do, I'll go to here. Let me try to load the home page. Let's see how it will look like. So I try to deploy, you can see there is a public DNS. It is trying to generate a sample DNS generated by Amazon itself. DNS is nothing but a domain name system. Let's see what is the response I'm getting here. So it is still loading. You can see I'm trying to load over the public internet. I'm trying to load the result of this particular endpoint in the public internet because by default, Amazon has provided the public DNS. DNS is nothing but a domain name system. You people might have learned during your educational semesters, right? You might have subjects. So it is not coming up. Let me put HTTPS. Okay, it is HTTP, right? Let me put HTTP. It's still loading. Let's give us time. Why it is not coming? The reason it is not coming because ports has been not enabled. You remember whenever you try to load any website, there will be something like HTTP, HTTPS, and you might have learned in during your networking classes like DNS port, DHCP port, right? A port is something which is actually used for the purpose of having some communication over the internet. Now, HTTP and HTTPS ports are required to load any website. So if I try to load any website, it doesn't have any port enabled over here. Where this port can be enabled? Under the security groups. Security groups is a concept where we can try to configure the ports. Okay, let me try to allow the port here. I'll need to open the port so that this website will be communicated. Currently, by default, SSH port is enabled. What is SSH? SSH port is something where Linux is useful. Like whatever the command line interface, like Linux operating system, it will be working through SSH port. So by default, SSH port is enabled. So if I want to have an enabled for the HTTP and HTTPS, I need to add some rule here. Okay. So I'm trying to add a rule. I'll type HTTP. You can see HTTP is available. If I want to add over the public internet so that anyone can try to reach this port, I'm trying to give 0.0.0 so that anyone from local internet, they can try to access this particular website in this particular Linux server over the port HTTP. I can also add another rule with HTTPS. You can see HTTPS. And again, anyone can from any system with any IP address, they can try to access this particular website like Linux website, like server with this port. I'm trying to save rule. Once I'm saving the rule, my Linux server is available over the internet with HTTP and HTTPS port. Let me try to reload the website now. Now you can see I have successfully deployed a test web page. You can see this. It is powered by Apache 2.4. The page is used to test the proper operation of Apache HTTP server after it has been installed. If you can read this page, it means that Apache HTTP server has been installed and this site is working properly. Now you can try to go and check from your end. I'm trying to send that in your Zoom link. You can try because I've given the access to everyone so that anyone can access from internet. So confirm me if you're able to access this web page from your end. This is a test web page and I've successfully deployed a test web page here. It is similar like, we are trying to access some social websites, facebook.com, amazon.com, right? In the same way, this is kind of a test web page which I'm deployed in a Linux server within quick minutes. Let me know if you're able to see the web page. So this is how I can try to initiate us mini projects. Like I can try to deploy new projects and I can try to modify the content. I can try to put here facebook.com and the images and the videos and the documents and the blogs and everything we can do. So that is how we can quickly try to deploy simple kind of a projects over here. Right. So I hope you people are able to access, right? And you can see this test page. And once I try to remove these ports, like HTTP and HTTPS ports, you won't be able to access because I'm not allowing you to access over the internet. And how you're trying to access, your computer might have a different IP address. Okay, and other computer might have a different IP address. So I'm trying to give it as a 0.0.0 so that any person from anywhere can try to access this server over the public internet and can try to access this my website which I've deployed. Now I can see the test web page. So I want to modify this web page. Okay, let me try to modify this web page like a simple understanding. So I'm not going in high level, but I'll try to tell you how we can try to do that within minutes. So I'll try to go to that configuration. So this is where I'm trying to go to the directory. CD space, where space W. So it is kind of a going to that particular location. VI space index.html. So HTML is nothing but a page where it will try to show you the welcome page here. This is where the configuration. So people who are front-end developers who had a knowledge on HTML coding, they'll be able to deploy all the images, text and everything from there. Okay. So I'm trying to do a sample editing here. Okay. So let me try to okay. I'm trying to enter a manual test here. So I try to save the setting. Let's see if what is this display is going to, because I modified this web page like a simple modification, kind of a text. Let me refresh this page. You can see I have deployed a simple website with welcome to ExcelR cloud computing program in Zoom session. You people can try and let me know if it is visible for you. Were everyone able to see this page? I hope it is understandable to everyone, like how quickly I'm trying to able to deploy that. So hope everyone tried to validate the same thing. Okay. So this is how we can try to have it modified based on the knowledge. So you need a knowledge on launching a server within the cloud. And here there is another aspect. You need a knowledge on launching an instance through Linux, like the commands which I'm trying to enter. And you need to understand what are the contents, like what kind of an applications you are installing. So basic, being a freshers, like a basic IT knowledge with the information like DNS, the network and the server level and the Linux commands, you'll be able to launch a quick server with a website deployment. And the people who got a development knowledge, they can try to deploy and install applications and trying to write a coding in these Linux machines and Windows servers as well. So that's how it will be helpful when you are trying to be in a complete course structure. Okay. So I just want to show you how this can be working on, and you can try to modify this content as well. And the people who has the knowledge on HTML, they can try to write, insert images, different text in the blogs and the videos, how you are trying to see the real-time websites. So this is how the outside, the public websites, like, the Facebook, Google, and the popular websites and all these things will work on, and they'll be trying to deploy their websites in huge level of servers in their data centers. And they are trying to host their web servers, web applications in those servers across the globe, so that users can try to hit this particular website and they can try to see the web page. Okay. So this is how it's going to be helpful. Now what I'll try to do, I'll go back, instances. Okay. So this is all about the user data. You can see this user data can be supplied before itself, and you can try to launch n number of projects, and with the help of a comments, you can try to install any applications based on the Linux knowledge. You'll try to get it. Okay. And let's go to the next topic, where adding storage to an Amazon EC2 instance. And before going that, as I try to launch a website here, how you are trying to go with the Windows server? Windows server, you people might have an aware. You need to go to Google and try to launch an Apache software, and then download it and trying to copy this particular exe file to the Windows server, and then click on next and then install and edit the HTML file, and you can try to deploy the same website like here. So servers will be, or naming conventions will be different. The technology will be might be same, but this is a Linux server, and the one we are trying to see, it is for the Windows server. Windows server is a GUI based where you can try to install the applications and trying to do that. So the reason I'm trying to show you the Linux, this is how the Linux servers can be worked on when the corporate companies and other applications which has been following, trying to opt for the Linux operating systems. Okay. So let's try to go with that. Let us try to understand the concept on block storages. What is a block storage? It is kind of a virtual hard disk where you're trying to attach to the instance. Okay. So you can see the root volume and the data volumes. Root volume is something, it is kind of a operating system levels volume where the data will be stored, like operating system configuration files and everything. And a block storage is something where you can try to attach externally. It's kind of an external hard disk. I can say it's a virtual hard disk. Okay, where you can see that options, we'll try to see by launching a server. Okay, Amazon Elastic Block Storage is an easy to use, scalable, high performance block storage service designed for Amazon Elastic. So you can see Amazon Elastic Block Storage. You can see there are different types of block storages, SSD based and HDD based. SSD and HDD, you people might have an aware the differences. Any idea if you can suggest? Anyone had an idea on SSD and HDD hard disk? SSD is nothing but a solid state drive, and HDD is nothing but a hard disk drive. Correct? So solid state drive have typically kind of it having a faster read-write speeds when compared to HDD. Okay, so these are kind of a different type of a storage where we are trying to opt it for based on the project requirements and attached to your server or the computer. Like I can try to say it's a virtual server. Okay, so what you are trying to do, you are launching a server, you are trying to attach any storage, and based on the requirement, kind of a 30 GB storage, 50 GB storage, and additional storage whenever you're running the instance. attach to your instance. What is attaching instance? Attach your new Amazon EBS volume to either new or existing EC2 instances. You can attach this storage to newly launch the server or existing server. That kind of an option is provided. Okay. So even when your server is in running state, you can try to attach the server to, storage to that particular server. And then run your application with persistent block volumes that offer 99.999% availability. So Amazon is offering the availability of this data in that particular hard disk with a 99.99% of assurance. So that's how efficiently and reliable service that Amazon is trying to provide to the users. Okay. So what are the different types of volume types? General purpose, provisioned, throughput optimized, cold HDD, magnetic. Okay. So let us try to see, these are the different types of volumes which are available over the AWS. Let us try to see the differences, like kind of a general understanding of why these different types of volumes are needed. Let me show you something. You can see solid state volumes. SSD backed volumes are optimized for transactional workloads involving frequent read and write operations with small input output readouts. So it needs a faster response. So where SSD comes into picture. Okay. So you can see there are different types of volumes available based on the requirement. It can be expandable for 1 GB to 16 TB. You can attach to the server. And it has an IO2 provisioned IOPS. It is something like 4 GB to 64 TB. And with the workloads, like the storage which you are trying to insert into the hard disk, that is called as inputs and outputs. Like how much amount of data we are trying to input, how much amount of the data we are trying to retrieve. That is nothing but in inputs and outputs. Okay. And HDD based volumes. HDD backed volumes are optimized for larger streaming workloads where the dominant performance attribute is throughput. So the difference between SSD and HDD, HDD is useful for a more high level uploads and downloads. Where it required, doesn't require, depends on where we doesn't rely on the transition speed, but the volume of the data. If you're trying to have a larger projects where you're trying to load big level of volume, like big data, data warehouses, and a big level logs. So at that time, this kind of a technology hard disk will come into picture. Okay. So it does have a 125 GB to 16 TB of capacity support. It is kind of a speed, 500 MB per second to 50 MB per second. And it is offering a 99.98% to 99% durability. So these are kind of a different set of volumes you can try to choose while you're attaching to the instance. Okay. This guide will give us good understanding on the different types of volume types where you can go through. So we are trying to go and attach different set of hard disks to the Windows server we are trying to launch practically in the lab session soon. Okay. So let me go back to the console. Let us try to attach the instance. Okay. All right. So for an easy understanding, to attach volumes, I'm trying to go through Linux server launch. Okay. I'm trying to launch the instance for not Linux, it should be a Windows. As you people might have an already knowledge on the Windows operating system. Should be easy to understand as well. Windows server. So what I need to select here, the free tier account and the Windows server. Because earlier we launched the Linux, let us try to attach the volume to the Windows. I'm trying to launch the base level server. I've selected that. You can see Windows Server English, full base 2023.2.5 operating system, and 64-bit ARM processor, and T2.micro instance, where I'm getting 1 core CPU, 1 GB RAM. So when I'm trying to go there, key pair authentication, I'm supplying that. AWS key, network settings. As we need an IP address to launch any server, I'm trying to supply. I'm selecting that. I'm enabling the public IP because I want to connect to the server, this particular virtual server over the internet. So I need a public IP address. I'm enabling that. And as I told you, security groups are nothing but ports. So for launching Linux server, we need SSH port to be enabled. For launching Windows server, we need TCP port. That is 3389 port should be enabled. So it has been by default enabled. You can see TCP 3389. Okay. So I'm good to with that. You can see this is what I'm trying to confirm. By default, whenever you are trying to have a server, by default, it needs an operating system storage. It is by default having a 30 GB of C drive storage. You can call it as a C drive. Once you try to go through your local computer, you might have a C drive, right? Where all the system files and the operating system files and configurations, binary files, and everything will be stored. So that will be stored in the C drive. So it needs a by default storage when you're trying to launch a server. So it is allocating by default 30 GB of storage. It is kind of a C drive. So I'm trying to keep that as it is. And I'm trying to click a launch instance. So successfully initiated launch of the instances. I'm clicking on view all instances. Let us wait if this status checks will be passed. You can see the status checks are going to be passed soon. It is still initializing. Just give it some time. All right, status text has been passed. So my next step is to connect to the server. So I need to connect through RDP. So, okay, when you're trying to connect any remote server with a remote Windows server, you'll have an option through RDP. You can see, you can try to search in your local system as well. RDP is nothing but a remote desktop connection where you can try to remotely connect to any Windows server. And you can see it is trying to provide me a virtual RDP file. And before that, I need to get a password because by default, the username will be administrator. The password should I need to get that. Upload private key. The key which I've tried to download it before when I'm trying to create an account. So key is a unique key. Once you download that, it shouldn't be lost. Otherwise, you need to create completely from scratch. Okay. I'm downloading that. See, I got a password now. So once I download the remote desktop file, it will download to my computer. It is asking for a confirmation. So it is asking for a password over here. It is asked for a confirmation. Let me try to quickly launch. I'm able to launch my virtual Windows server. So desktop icons will be loading soon. I'll go to File Explorer. Okay. I'll check if I got an internet access. Either I can try to check from command prompt as well, where you can try to ping. Ping command is used to check the internet connectivity. So that's a basic thing we can try to do from your laptops or desktops as well, right? Ping is to helpful for checking the connectivity over the internet. If I'm trying to load the google.com, see, is loading still the background software. Okay. So I'll try to click on the ping command, ping space. Any website you want to test the connectivity, you can try to do that. Google.com. To get a response, I need to have that successful ping response. You can see ping on google.com. So I'm getting a reply. So that means I've got an internet access, right? Even I hope it got the internet. So I'm able to see the web page loaded from the Google. All right. So now we are discussing about the storage concept. Let us try to go to the file explorer. As I told you, by default, there should be operating system operating drive where the configuration of the operating system files will be, everything will be stored in the C drive. Correct? You can see this. This is having all the program files and the windows and the temp and everything, correct? How much GB it has been allocated? 30 GB. So where you are trying to see that MO storage details, if I go here, volumes. So these are the volumes. So elastic block storage is the section where if any instances created under this section, all the storage in storage types and all the details of the particular storage will be listed under the volumes. Okay. So you can see 8 GB of volume added to the Linux server, correct? 30 GB of volume added to the Windows, right? So I have currently 30 GB of storage. Now I want to have additional hard disk attached to this particular Windows server. Okay. I'm trying to have it naming convention. So I want to have an extension. I want to add additional hard disk to this particular Windows server. Then how I can try to do that? I need to go and create volume. Here is an options where you can try to create a volume. Here you can try to see general purpose SSD, general purpose is the GP3 IOPS, provisioned IOPS, cold, throughput optimized magnet standard. So I believe as a free tier account, you might get a 30 GB of storage per month, I feel. And that is for general purpose SSD, right? If you select any out of this apart from this general purpose, these are chargeable based on hourly basis. So let us not try to use that even during practice as a free tier account. So how much storage you want to add? For example, I'm trying to add 20 GB. 20 GB. Okay. Now, when you're trying to attach the storage, you want to see where this instance has been deployed. If instance is deployed in a different availability zone, for example, I'm into Oregon region where my Windows server is running, correct? Under which availability zone this has been deployed, these details will be shown here. You can see it has been deployed under the Oregon region and the availability zone is US West 2A. This is the data center details where this particular Windows server has been deployed. So if you want to attach any external hard disk to this server, then that server storage has to attach to this particular zone only. If you try to attach under US West 2B, if you try to create a volume, it won't be attached to the instance, correct? So there are different data centers available under Oregon. So 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, as I told you yesterday. So I need to attach the storage to the instance which has been configured under US West 2. So I'm trying to create that. A snapshot is nothing but a backup. For any backup situations, you want to have a snapshot, don't create volume from a snapshot. So I'm not doing anything because it doesn't have any backup, so it doesn't require. You want to encrypt, use Amazon EBS encryption solution for your EBS resource associated with your instances. Encryption is nothing but it will completely encrypt your data. Like, it will be kind of a secure. So the data will be encrypted with the help of Amazon EBS encryption method. If you want that, you can try to encrypt the volume by clicking this checkbox. Okay. So I'm trying to create a volume now. So it should be created. Where was that? This is the 20 GB volume I've created. It says the available. And is it attached to any instances? No, I did not attach because this is the storage. Raw storage which I created now. So it is an OK status, not encrypted. So this raw storage, I need to attach to the Windows server. Let us try to see how it can be done. Once you click on this checkbox, you will see an action tab. You can see there's an option called attach volume. Once you click on attach volume, you will see an options like volume ID. Even the volume has a volume ID and the availability zone. What is the availability zone? I created US West 2A because in the same availability zone, my instance has been launched. So I'm trying to select the instance. What are the instances running here? Windows server and the Linux server, right? So where I'm trying to attach this hard disk, I'm trying to attach to the Windows. Okay. So device name. it will be having kind of, you can see recommended device name for Windows is /dev/SDA1. This is kind of a root volume, kind of a C drive. And anything which is starting with this last digit, that is kind of a D drive, E drive, F drive, G drive. So now it is trying to give us a F drive, right? So let me try to give it as a D drive, XVDD. Okay. As C drive is already available over here, I'm trying to give it as kind of a D drive. Let me try to create attached volume. Let's see how it is going to. So this is my newly created, and it has been attached to the instance, that is Windows Server here. You can see the screen. It has been attached to the Windows Server. Now what I can try to do, I'll go back to the instances. I'm in the instance tab. I'll refresh the screen. Let's see, it is actually appearing in the instance page. I'm selecting the instances, storage. You can see there are different type of storage available under the storage option. You can see if you try to scroll down, clicking on the check option storage. Earlier, there is only 30 GB of C drive. I have attached 20 GB of D drive, additional hard disk. Now I need to check in server if that server, storage has been added or not. Okay. So this is my server. So this is my server, and let me refresh. So I doesn't see any D drive here. I can see only C drive. Why? Because the volume which I've created in the Amazon console, that is completely raw hard disk, correct? So that has been unallocated stage. Now I need to allocate that storage to the server. So for that, we need to go to the disk partition. Anytime if you try to extend the storage and attach that volume to the Windows, you can try to click the disk partition. Okay. Let's try to see. Something like disk management. Create and format hard disk partitions. Now there is an options, you can see. It is nothing but a disk management tool where you can try to have instances attached and with the storage attached to the instances. Now you can see there is only C drive with a 30 GB and 20 GB has been not assigned because it is still offline and unallocated. I'll try to make it online quick. Now I'll try to click on initiate disk. It is asking me to initiate disk. I'm clicking on OK. This is done. Now it came online. So now this is an unallocated stage. I can try to create a simple volume. I'll click on next. You can see. Click on next. Assign the following drive. You can try to assign the A drive, C drive, E drive, F drive based on the naming location, whatever you require. So I'm clicking on D drive. Next, next, finish. So this is formatted with an NTFS format system, and this has been launched successfully. Let me try to do that. So you can see this disk partition is available over the drive now, right? So my 20 GB is available here. That's it. So I can try to create files and upload folders, even from a local system and from internet and everything. I can do that, correct? So this is how the drives can be managed. Okay. Now at this running stage, I feel like if there is a situation where I need to increase the drive size when the server is in running state because my space is completely occupied. At that time, what we can do, Amazon is trying to provide an option to. I'll go to this drive. You can see there is an option called modify volume. Earlier, how much is the volume it has been stored? 20 GB, right? So I can try to extend minimum of 1 GB and maximum of 16384 GB. This much of volume I can try to upgrade. So I want to make it for total of, I cannot make 19 because the size of volume cannot be increased. the size of volume can be increased but not decreased because the storage has been already fixed and it cannot be decreased. You can only increase. So that's why 19 GB is not acceptable. If I try to click on 21 GB, it will acceptable. If I try to click on 22, it will be acceptable. If I try to go with the lower, it won't accept. So that's why it is trying to accept, right? So I've tried to click on 25 GB. Earlier it was 20. I'm trying to extend more by 25 GB. Okay. Let us click on modify. Let's see. It is modifying, you can see. So without the server shutdown, without the interruption of the data inside the server, this extension should be possible now. Okay. So the data won't be deleted when you're trying to extend. Still modeling, it is optimizing. So let me try to reload that. It is in use now. So let me try to load my server again. You can see there is a 5 GB unallocated space. We have extended the drive. Clicking on next. I think it is trying to create a new drive. So I need to click on extend volume. Now it should be 25 GB of storage when I'm trying to refresh this. You can see it has been allocated right now. So 24.9 GB. So remaining 100 MB, it might be reserved from some specific system purpose. Okay, so that's why you're not seeing the 25 completely. And currently the data is still there and I'm able to extend the volume when the data is in transit, right? So in this way, we can try to usage the volumes as required. So whenever you want to take a backup of the volume, there is an option called Snapshot. If I try to go to this particular volume, and once I try to create Snapshot, Snapshot is nothing but a backup of that specific volume. When I'm trying to create a snapshot, it is trying to take backup of the volume which has been already existing in the server. So how this is going to be a benefit? So backup is something by mistake, if any storage has been deleted or during the server reboots or anything with the server got hang or the storage has been deleted by mistake. So snapshot will be helpful to restore the data. Create a point in time snapshot to back up the data on the Amazon EPS volume to Amazon S3. So I'll try to create as a backup snapshot name. So these are various kind of options when you're trying to have that. Create snapshot. So I'm trying to create a snapshot. The snapshot will be visible here. You can see the backup snapshot is loading. It is in the pending status. Let's see how it is going to be helpful. Okay. Let me try to see. It is in the progress level now. Snapshot is, it cannot be assumed as a recycle bin, but recycle bin will try to clear the data maybe after few days, right? Few time. It is permanent only for few days. But the snapshot is right, you can try to store it permanently. So recycle bin is something it will be trying to store the data temporarily and then it will be deleted. This is kind of a backup drive. So it's completed, available 100%. So my snapshot is ready. So what I'm trying to do now, I'll go to volumes and then I'll try to delete the volume, the newly created volume 25 GB which has been created. For example, let us try to delete this. You can see delete option is not available because this particular volume has been attached to the server instance. So first I need to detach the volume. Attaching volume and detaching the volume are the concepts where attaching is nothing but attaching to the server. Okay, detach volume is nothing but removing the volume from that particular server. So I need to click on the detach volume. You can see after you detach a volume, you might be still charged for your volume storage. If you no longer needed the volume, delete it to stop incurring changes. Okay. So once you try to click on detach, the volume will be still available in this section. Correct? You see this? The volume is still available. That means this has been just detached. That means you're still reoccurring. It is trying to take the price for this particular volume you have created. To have this complete volume deleted, you need to go to actions and then click on delete volume. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, I'll click on delete volume, right? Just let me delete that. Click on this volume. Actions. You can see now delete volume option is there. If you want to attach the volume again, you can try to attach. If you want to delete, I'll delete this volume. Now my volume is gone. It has been successfully deleted. Now when I'm trying to go to the server, the volume is not existing. You can see this. My complete C drive is empty. C drive is empty now. Correct? There is no volume. Now, during these situations, how Amazon is trying to provide us the help of snapshots. So snapshot is a concept where you can try to retrieve the same volume with a backup. You can see create volume from the snapshot. When I'm trying to create a volume, you can see general purpose SSD25, everything is there. Create volume. So now out of the snapshot, I'm trying to create a volume from the snapshot. If I try to go to the volumes option now, the volume should be visible here. You see this? Now I'm trying to retrieve the backup. By mistake, if any situations where the data and the volume can be deleted, my volume is available here. Okay. Now let me see if go to the server, if that volume can be enabled. So let me try to refresh, reopen this. It should be an allocated storage now. This ChemGMT I should. It's still getting ready. Okay. Why it is not still appearing here? Any guess? It is still not coming here. Any guess from any one of you? I've created a volume out of the snapshot, but it is still not showing up here. What is the reason? Anyone? Any reason that it's not appearing? I just told you before. Are we trying to follow the class? It's already initialized. You can see this has been available. It is not in progress or initializing mode. It is telling that, okay, there is no error. Raw storage, yes, it is raw storage, but the raw storage should be displayed in the disk management, but it is not coming in as a raw storage. Why it is not coming up? Yes. So it is still in the detached mode. Now you can see these volumes has been attached mode, but earlier you remember, once I create that, I need to attach the volume. You can see there is an option called attach. I need to attach the volume. So which instance I need to attach it? I need to attach to the Windows. And I'll give some drive name. I'll click on attach volume. Now it should be in progress. Let's see if it is disabled. You can see this. Now this volume, the raw data is appearing as an unallocated storage in the drive. Okay. I'll make it online. I'll click on should be there. You can see this is appearing here. Now you remember earlier I just tried to put the data before, like a text file in the document, in the text folder, without any interventions, because I've deleted the compute drive from the volume. Still, with the help of a snapshot, I'm able to retrieve the data which has been lost. Does it make sense, everyone? So my data is still there. The volume which exactly I've created 25 GB with the exact data has been completely retrieved with the help of a snapshot concept. So the snapshots can be stored for a particular lifetime. You can try to retrieve the backup data, which of the volume you are supposed to think if that is going to be deleted. Okay. So you can try to have a sequential backups that can be scheduled as. Is everyone clear with the EBS concept, elastic block storage? Any doubts? Any doubts? Right. So that's all about elastic block storage. Now, yes, actually, I just want to show you the Linux, the server, because you people are completely new, right? And once you're trying to be in progress, when you're trying to able to go with the full course structure, you'll be able to understanding the Linux as well, because we'll be teaching you the Linux class for the first week, so that you'll be able to get good understanding the Linux commands and then trying to launch the servers. Okay. And this particular 10 days program won't be sufficient to cover entire thing. So that will be tough to cover. So you can try to go through online portals and the logins and any websites to learn the Linux commands. And if you are into the course structure with the ExcelR, then you'll be able to understand more on that. You'll be get confident on executing the Linux commands as well. Okay. Any doubts? So there are different types of EC2 pricing options. You can see that is nothing but on-demand instances, spot instances, saving plans, dedicated host. So what is on-demand? The instances which are trying to launch ad hoc, like instantly. With on-demand instances, you pay for the compute capacity by the hourly basis. So the instances which you are trying to launch as a free tier account, you can see these servers. Those are launched under the hourly basis, right? So those are on-demand instances. So we can try to use that. And what are the spot instances? Amazon EC2 spot instances allows you to request spare Amazon EC2 computing capacity up to 90% of on-demand price. So spot instance is nothing but which will having low computing prices and which you people need to a larger capacity needs, large amounts of additional capacities. At this time, you will get a good discount on the spot instances. Okay. So you'll get a good discounts and compared to the on-demand. So you'll get a 90% of on-demand. It's kind of an random instances which are available and provided in the console level. Got it? And saving plans. Saving plans are flexible pricing model that offers low price on EC2 and a target usage in exchange of a commitment to a consistent amount of usage measured in $ per hour for 1 or 3 year terms. Saving plans are nothing but a contract basis. You can try to opt for these EC2 instances for yearly basis and 3 years basis. So you can try to opt for the contract so that these servers will be consistently under your account if you try to purchase for yearly or thrice, like thrice a year, 3 year terms. You can see 1 or 3 year terms. You can try to purchase. So this is one kind of a pricing level where EC2 instances are providing. Okay. and a dedicated host. A dedicated host is a physical EC2 server dedicated on your side. Dedicated host can help you reduce cost by allowing you to use existing server-bound software licenses, including Windows Server SQL, and also can help you meet compliance requirements. Dedicated host is nothing but if you are trying to launch a server here, these are the servers which we are trying to get randomly from any of these data centers which I'm trying to select, right? We doesn't know like from which host or which virtualization this particular server is getting. So because of this, because these are having a low prices. But when you are trying to go with a dedicated host, you will have a definite host so that you will get a dedicated EC2 servers from that particular infrastructure. That means you will get a dedicated server with a dedicated softwares, dedicated configuration. So it costs you more because in terms of security, the people who are completely concerned about the compliance and audit requirements, you will have a dedicated host configured on that. So you'll get a servers around that particular dedicated host. So if you go through this documentation, you get to understand more on that dedicated host, and it will be charging more when compared to others. Okay, like on-demand customers. Got it? So that is about the different types of on-demand instances and the pricing level options when you're trying to launch any servers within the Amazon console. Any doubts? Yeah, someone actually having a question of attaching the volume to another instance from Windows to Linux. No, it is not possible because Windows has a copyright software operating systems where that has been designated, and the storage, the volume will be designated based on the operating level, operating system level, right? So Linux is again a proprietary base. That is again the copyright protected. That is again operating system based. So the volumes which are creating, that will be optimized and will be allocated to that particular Windows systems only. If you can try to have a volume created here, this volume can be attached to another Windows server, but not to the Linux server. Linux operating system is another copyright system, and Windows system operating system is a different copyright system, right? So it is not possible. Got it? So we can try to utilize this particular volume to Windows servers only, and Linux storage volumes can be used to the Linux operating systems only. It cannot be merged. So Linux operating system is completely command line interface. This is a GUI based. It does have a separate backend algorithm where this attachment will be attached to the OS level, and the background, the binary files and everything will be stored in the C drives, right? So it does have a different, it depends on the operating system and the copyright levels. So you are purchasing instances for 1 or 3 year terms. So within that terms, if you're having the data, you can try to store, it will be dedicated to you. And at the end of the 3rd year, the contract is expiring, then again you need to purchase and renew that instances. Okay, we need to purchase again. So based on the amount that has been designated at that particular situation. So when I'm trying to go to the Windows server here, what EMI I've just tried to launch here, Amazon Mission Image, right? Amazon Mission Image is nothing but a software operating system. Let me try to see what AMI ID it has. It is having the AMI over here. Okay. Let me try to copy the AMI. AMI is nothing but an operating system that has been assigned to this Windows server. That which I've tried to choose Windows operating system with a 1-core CPU and 1 GB of RAM. Correct. So let me try to find this AMI ID in the AMI section. You can see on the left side, there is an AMI section here, AMIs. I'll go there. You can try to find the AMI here. You can see there is an AMI here. So this AMI can be used to migrate the data from one region to another region, like another data center as well. Okay, we'll try to do the sample demo lab sessions on understanding that AMI transfer. Correct? So what actually I've did, I'm into these instances where this is a Windows server, right? So now in this Windows server, I have done some work, and it has some kind of a work where I having a 25 GB of storage, right? This is a Windows server. This is an operating system with an AMI ID 93E7, correct? With a volume ID. So what I'm trying to do here, till now we have tried to take a backup of the volume snapshot backup. That is called as a snapshot. I'm taking the backup of volume as a snapshot. Now I'm trying to take a backup of the software. So let us try to see how it is possible. With the AMI, it is possible. For that, I need to go to that Windows server which is running. I need to go here. You can see this image and templates. I'll click on this image and templates. Now, once I click on create image, create template from instance, launch mode like this. So I'm trying to create image. Okay. What image I'm trying to give? I'll try to give ExcelR sample demo AMI. So I'm trying to create my own AMI. As I told you, at the AMI section, you might be seeing Amazon provided some sample AMIs and third-party provider provided some sample AMIs. So even users who are trying to work on the servers of the projects, they can try to create their own AMIs. Okay. So I'm trying to do it as a for testing purpose. Now, it is telling, does it require no reboot? It's okay. It's not required. Storage type. You remember like a Windows server by default has a 30 GB of C drive storage and 25 GB of external storage like hard disk, correct? Now this is by default and I'm trying to delete everything. Click on, okay, that's fine. Do you want to add a new volume? Not required. I'm trying to copy exact data which has been already there. I'm trying to create an image, okay? I'm trying to create an image here. So this is my own EMI. I'm creating my own EMI. So let me try to see where that EMI is. It will be here. You can see AMI is created here. Where is that? Should be something like Windows, right? ExcelR. I've created name with an ExcelR. Let's see. Owned by me. You can see this is creating. The software is getting created. You can see this pending. Now, as I told you, the software will be loaded and it will be stored in the form of AMI. This is nothing but an operating system. Now the data will be stored in the form of volumes, correct? So volumes on the snapshot. Let's see if that is going to be created. If I try to go there, let's see if that's creating. Let's wait for its progress. It is still pending. You can see this notification, the remote computer is restarting. It is because I'm trying to create an Amazon mission image, right? So what does this AMI have? This is having an ID, ExcelR sample demo, and by default, it is in the status pending state, architecture, and everything will be same, which I'm trying to load. And the permissions has been given default. I haven't assigned anything. Storage. What is the default storage I've loaded here? 30 GB of C drive and 25 GB of M drive, correct? So all this configuration has been loaded as a package as a part of AMIs. Okay. So I'll try to give it a name as well, just for understanding. Still in pending status because it actually tried to back up all the software configurations, operating system level files, and the data and the storage. So that's why it is going to take a little time. We shall try to give it a time. Still in pending status. Now where I'm trying to load all this infrastructure, I'm trying to load all this infrastructure in the Oregon location in the availability zones with the US first tool. Okay. So if you want to deploy same kind of infrastructure in any other regions, you can try to select any other regions as well. Correct. And once we are done with the work, we shouldn't never ever try to leave the servers running and the storage running, because once we are done with this work, we need to terminate all the projects what we are trying to do during at least the learning stages as part of free trial. Okay. So let us try to wait if AMIs is completely built. I'm trying to create a software image now. It's taking still time, pending one. See. All right. Someone had a question of why most of the organizations using Linux in server instead of Windows. It's not like that. It depends on the projects and the security levels and based on the different needs. For example, if the company which I'm working, it does have we are completely actually hosted in AWS. So we are all the customers servers has been hosted in Windows itself, not the Linux. So based on the project needs, the operating system will be chosen. And Linux has some more advantages. Like if you can see, when I'm trying to install any softwares inside the Windows server, I need to install .exe file from download from the Google or external website. But when you try to go here, it will be trying to load with a command level, right? So when I'm trying to install any software like yum install HTTPD, yum install SQL, it will be trying to download the files from the library files within the Linux directory. So Linux repository, there are prefixed directories and the files which has been loaded. So there is no harm for viruses and the malwares and any cyber attacks. So even that is also one kind of a concern if some people who are trying to prefer Linux over the Windows. Okay. And again, if people who are trying to completely prefer Linux, now some companies who are trying to opt for the Linux-based servers. Now, to have a jobs created, to have the people worked on that, we need a Linux-based skilled persons. They need to know about the Linux commands. They need to work on the Linux level administration. So then they will be able to work on. But for people who are trying to work on Windows level, they doesn't need basic. The basic level of knowledge should be okay. And the troubleshooting wise, Windows is far better than Linux, right? Because you can, it's kind of a GUI based. So that's how it is going to be helpful. So it's pending still. Yes, now it's available. So my AMI has been successfully created. So what happens? Here I have an instance and I'm created an AMI out of that instance. For example, what happened? I have a company in Hyderabad where my server has been deployed. Okay. I want to completely migrate my data and operating system to a different region. For example, in Hyderabad company, I'm located my company in the US. I want to have the same infrastructure deployed. For example, I want to deploy the same server with the same operating system. So I'll try to quickly jump into another location like Asia Pacific Mumbai. What I'll try to do, rather than trying to create, install applications and store all this data, like whatever the C drive data, E drive data, and the backup data and the operating system. So what I'm trying to use, I'll try to simply migrate the data from one data center to another data center. So that's how the Amazon being providing a reliable data migration operation from one region to another region. For example, I'm trying to click on launch instance. Migrated data. So earlier, where I tried to configure all the instances in the Oregon region, right? So now I just moved to the Mumbai region because I want to deploy infrastructure in my Mumbai region. So I'm trying to click on migrated data server from. So I'm just trying to click on this. Here, you can see Amazon machine image. I'll click on here, browse. You can see these products AMIs are loaded with, it will be completely like a scratch. So I need to have a my AMIs created by me. I doesn't see any AMI here. So what I'll try to do, I'll go to the Oregon region. I'll go to the Amazon machine image. So I've created Amazon image, right? So I'll try to do, go to actions and then copy AMI. So it will ask where you want to copy this machine image. ExcelR demo AMI, copy image. This is the source destination, right? Source is Oregon region, correct? So destination where I want to migrate to the Mumbai region because there I want to migrate my data. I want to have an AMI created. So I'll try to click on Asia Pacific Mumbai. Okay. So the AMI which has been created in the Oregon region, I'm trying to copy this AMI to the destination Asia Pacific Mumbai. I'll click on copy. Now you can see AMI copy operation for AMI has been initiated. It can take few minutes of AMI to be copied. You can check the progress of operation the AMI tape in the AP South one. Okay. So let us try to see. It should be something here. I'll go to the Mumbai region, EC2 console, and then I'll go to the AMI section in the Mumbai region. So I need to see the progress of the copied AMI, correct? Let's see. You can see this. The AMI is slowly copying. You can see the progress here. This is how it is going to be helpful. Status pending. The status of copy is happening here. Now, the data is trying to be, AMI is going to be copied from Oregon data center, the region, to the Mumbai region. Okay. So from here, with the help of this AMI, I can try to launch n number of servers. With the n number of servers with the same software, I can try to load it with the same backup storage. So that's efficient service which is trying to provide it by cloud vendor. Correct? It is kind of a service. It's very good service. Rather than wasting time on creating a software image and trying to select the configurations, simply I'm trying to select the exact same configuration deployed in the Mumbai region. So let's wait how it is done. It takes time because the complete data has to be migrated, right? Let us give few minutes for that. So should be created by now. I think it is available. You can see this option, right? So here what I'm trying to do, I'll go to instances in the Mumbai region. I'll try to launch a new server with the available image which is created. Okay. Let's see. I'll go to browse more. And if you just see, usually we select these, right? Predefined. Now this is the created image which is appearing. This is my AMI. It is created by me. ExcelR sample demo AMI, copied AMI from Oregon to Mumbai region. I'm selecting this. You can see this. This AMI is visible over here. Yes, you can upload your local data to the Windows instance. And T2.micro, that is by default. And then I'm going to the default VPC. And with the default settings. And you can see by default, it has been given 30 GB and 25 GB, which has been copied there. I'll click on launch instance. So this server has been launched with the AMI backup, which has been created by me. So what all the things will be copied once you create a snapshot? AMI will be copied from there to here. You can see this AMI, and also the volumes will be copied from there. You can see volumes also copied from Oregon region to Mumbai region. That's how it is going to be helpful, correct? So it's by default attached to the instance. You can see this. There is nothing to worry. We cannot actually trying to spend time and the configuration and aspects. Everything will be automated. So it is initializing. So it's in running state. If I try to click on connect, it should be download. Anyway, actually I did not create a key pair, but this is kind of a sample project where you can try to launch a server with the storage exactly that has been created in the Oregon region to here. So successfully the data has been migrated in the same operating system with the configuration. Okay. You can see this volume has been created with the same thing. So that's how it is going to be helpful. Any doubts or understanding the AMIs? Are everyone clear with the concept of AMI migration from one data center to another data center? This is how the AMIs can be helpful further. All right. So what I'll do, as I'm done with my work, I'll simply go and terminate this instance because it doesn't want to get charged. Okay. I'm trying to terminate this, and let's see if volumes also should get. I'll also terminate the instances from Oregon region because it's been running, right? I'll go to instances. Terminate instances. I'm terminating Windows and Linux server as we are done with our work. And we cannot keep that servers keep running because these are chargeable. These are on-demand instances, right? And after the free tier account usage, it will be chargeable. So I'm trying to terminate that. So I'm trying to delete the snapshot if any snapshots are in place. Should be deleting that. Yes, AMIs are actually not chargeable. Okay. So there are no charges for creation of AMI. You will be only chargeable for the software operating system and the instance launch and the drives storage you created out of the AMIs. Okay, that's you can try to remember. So it's terminated. Let me try to delete this, detach volumes. It is asking to detach. I'm trying to detach. Delete volume, it is done. So I'll go to snapshot. I'll also delete the snapshots as well. So we need to be very much careful enough on trying to have all this data. Actually, I haven't deleted from here, so that's what is coming up. I need to detach, right, first. So that's why it is not deleting. It has been detached. Windows to page. It is still shutting down. That's why it is taking time. So once it's shutting down, then only we'll be able to delete the volumes. Okay. Yes, whatever the data which has been created under the volume, once you create the snapshot, the data will be in the snapshot. Still in shutting down. Okay, this has been deleted. I'll go to volumes now. I can delete this volume correct because the server has been shut down. This is done. Now I can try to delete the snapshots as well because I'm done with work. It's kind of a cleanup effort. We need to do it once you are done with the work. Then using by AMI CE1. Register AMI. Okay. Now I can try to delete this. So we are done with session. So any doubts, guys? Hope you people are able to understand. We had learned about interesting topics for today and understanding concepts of storage and instance level configurations and the backups. Any doubts? So my Mumbai region data has been completely clear. Okay. So nothing is present. AMI is nothing, volume, snapshot is clear. So I just need to make sure everything has been deleted. Okay. So I need to delete this one. Deregister AMI. So we'll come up with a new topic tomorrow as well. Okay. So I deleted the snapshot. So whatever the data which is still there, like a snapshots and the volumes which are running, then it will be chargeable. So that's why I'm trying to do all the cleanup efforts once I'm done with the work. So that's it for today's sessions. I hope you got understand. So shall meet you tomorrow then. Thanks everyone.
Amar, can I have the session?
Yes, Tirmal.